Hey, I'm Gabby, you're also known as Señorita Gavita. Welcome back or welcome if you are new here. Today's video will be a draw with me session. I will using the Ohuhu Acrylic Markers. At the moment they are my favorite type of acrylic markers and I'm using my old sketchbook. But this time we are not drawing a new whole sketchbook spread I found in my sketchbook, or I have a sketchbook spread that I don't like anymore because you will see it right now. The left side I did it with the paper-friendly markers from Ohuhu as well, and compared to the right side of the sketchbook spread I have an illustration, a strawberry cake with a tiny fairy guinea pig, and this illustration I did with acrylic markers. And right now you can see it very well, the difference of both art styles or the technique of the art supplies. The right one with the acrylic marker is very saturated, vibrant and very eye-catching in my opinion, and the left one, which was done with the water-based markers, are very unsaturated. The shapes aren't that defined and it looks a little bit washed down, and that's why I wanted to elevate the sketchbook page or the whole spread with acrylic markers. So I wanted to draw on top of them and create a more cohesive sketchbook spread. So this is the idea, the plan of today's draw with me or sketch with me video. Because I needed a more lighter blue for my sketchbook spread, I decided also to use the acrylic markers from Shuttle Art. I really like them as well. They are very, very good, and I also love the color variation that you get in this set. So that's why I added later also this acrylic marker set for the drawing process. And as I said, I wanted to create a cohesive sketchbook spread, so I added on the right side also some blue color, so it looks very, very harmonious. And the whole color scheme for the sketchbook spread will be this light blue color, then different tones of pink and brown shades, and a little bit of yellow as well here and there. After I have finished the strawberry cake with the fairy guinea pig, I started to color up the strawberries. I already have this very light sketch with a pink colored pencil, and it was time to color up these very cute strawberries. I started with the lightest part where the light source touches the surface of the strawberry, then I moved on with the more darker pink, and in the end with this very vibrant dark magenta for the shadow part. And I also use it for the line art, or not very a line art, but to define the whole strawberry shape. Then you can see I compared the green tones from both acrylic marker set, and I noticed that the Shuttle Art acrylic markers are more lighter tones, so I decided to use the green from the Shuttle Art for the stem and the leaves for the strawberries. And I wanted to keep the whole coloring part very easy, very minimalistic, only adding the shadow part and the base color, and like more in a gel shading art technique, and to look where I needed to add more shadow and or more light part to form all the characters and elements. And that's why I really love to have a small color palette for my illustrations, so I don't have to overthink all the stuff and only to focus on adding the right value to my illustration. Now I needed to fill up the blank space on the right corner of the sketchbook page, so I started to do a very quick sketch, sticking to the main theme of the page, mainly strawberry and a fairy guinea pig. So I decided to draw a very big strawberry, and then behind of it a fairy guinea pig who was munching on the strawberry. And I'm using here my beloved pink mechanical pencil from Pilot. I really love to sketch with it, and it also has a tiny eraser on the cap of the pen. And my last video was a tutorial where I show you how I do my illustration on Procreate. I was showing you there my favorite brushes and the whole drawing process, how I create my illustration. And during the editing part of my last video, I was also thinking to do maybe some tutorials for traditional art, for example like here, showing you how I use the acrylic markers and explaining more the technique, and also some tips and tricks. Because I think that for beginners, the acrylic markers could be very tricky because they dry very, very fast and could be also very difficult to blend the colors together. There are different techniques for it. Also, choosing the right paper for it is also very, very important when you don't have that much experience. Right now I'm using a very old sketchbook, and you can see the paper is very thin, and I have experience with traditional art supplies, so I know how much I can add the color on this paper, so I don't have the type of struggles. But if you are very new into this type of drawing with acrylic markers, it could be very frustrating when you are damaging the paper surface because you don't know how much color you can add on it. And also it depends on the art supplies or on the brand of the acrylic markers. Some of them are more thicker, more opaque, other are more fluid, more wet. And yes, I think this could be very interesting to do a tutorial for acrylic markers, because at the moment I'm only drawing with them because they are very easy to use in my opinion when you know the tips and tricks and all the little tiny struggles that you can meet during the drawing process. But besides that, I really like that I can create with a few colors a whole illustration, and yes, I really like to draw with them. And I think I'm drawing almost with them over almost a year, I think. Yes, I really like them. So I'm thinking to do a tutorial. But if you have any other ideas or you want to see another type of tutorial, maybe also for alcohol markers or colored pencil, or how I can combine different art supplies together, for example alcohol markers and acrylic markers together, or drawing colored pencil on top of acrylic marker, is this possible, and so on, I will also be very happy to see you ideas in the comments down below. As you can see right now, I am adding the highlights on the fairy guinea pigs with my Posca acrylic marker. So maybe you noticed that I have a few acrylic markers print as well, and I use them for different situations. The acrylic marker from Posca, the white one, only for the highlights because the nib is very, very tiny, small and precisely. And then the other acrylic markers because they have a brush nib for coloration, because they are very flexible and you can create very dynamic lines with them as well, and coloring up a very big space is also very, very easy, and you can create a very pretty layer of color without any strikes. And as I like the strawberries, the tiny one, I also using the same technique for building the strawberry here as well, adding first the lightest pink shade and then building it up with a darker shape and combining the colors together. And here also it depends if you want to blend the gradient for the pink colors or not. I do this blending technique mostly for my fairy guinea pigs because I want that they have a very soft look, so that's why I blend on the face the brown dark color with the lightest one together with my finger. But for the strawberry I'll leave it very sharp, the gradient of the lightest to the darkest pink shade. And I think this contrast is also very interesting for this type of illustration as well. And I also really like to add here and there a little bit of yellow as well on the strawberry to make the whole sketchbook spread cohesive, because on the illustration above I also added some yellow stars and sparkles, so that's why I wanted also to add on this big strawberry a little bit of yellow as well. And to finish the right page, I also drew a strawberry plant. It's not like the realistic strawberry plant. It's more magical with this curvy stem and with the very thick leaves. Yes, I really like the plant. It's very easy to draw, and it was also fitting perfectly in this small space that I had left on the sketchbook spread. And as you can see, I wanted to make the stem more three-dimensional, or to add more interesting points on the plant. So that's why I added a more lighter green on some parts of the stem and also on the leaves. And to add this reflective light, I use again the yellow pen. And then with the darkest green color, I added a shadow. I also think that for this type of coloring technique, it's also very important to look at reference pictures and to see which part is more prominent, which part or which shadow very stands out, and which one of them you can transfer to your illustration. And also to keep in mind that less is better to include in your illustration so you don't get overwhelmed with all the details. So that's always a thing that I try to transfer also to my illustration in this type. And as you can see, I always start with a very organized setup for my illustration, but now it's a very chaotic place. But I really like to see how I really enjoy drawing and be surrounded with all the pens on the desk, and to see how all changed during the drawing process. I really like it to see in the end my very messy drawing place. And now we are on the left side, the page where I wanted to do a makeover, because I didn't like it that much when I was going through my sketchbook page, seeing the other acrylic marker pages that I did for the Flower of the Month series. You can see it on the screen. I have an info card, or also in the description down below you will see the playlist if you want to check it out after this video. I am drawing each month a Flower of the Month, and the last one was the Sweet Pea and the Daisy Flower, and I'm doing them with acrylic markers. But only the first one for January I did it with the paper-friendly water-based marker, so it stood every time out when I was looking through my sketchbook spread, and I didn't like it anymore. That's why I wanted to draw on top with the acrylic marker and make it more stand out, and also that it fits more to the whole drawing series. So I added also on the flowers a few layers of acrylic markers to define all the petals. Maybe you can notice that also the line had a little bit of a bleed through the page as well, and because of the water-based mixture of the markers, the colors are more lighter and not that vibrant. And I realized that I'm more the type of artist that like very opaque colors, more vibrant colors, and I don't like the soft look that much anymore. Of course, I really love soft colors, but not this soft texture of paint or the soft texture of watercolor. Actually, I also could use colored pencil on top to elevate the illustration. This would be also a possibility, but I wanted to make it with acrylic markers so it fits more to the Flower of the Month series. Because it doesn't mean that I don't like watercolor anymore. In the past I drew a lot with them, but I used there a more thicker paper, or a paper which was recommended for watercolor, so it reacts different, the watercolor paint on the paper, and I didn't have this type of unsaturated look. Maybe it's a type of markers that I don't like that much, or maybe also both together, the paper and the water-based markers. So I don't know, maybe I also need to give it a second chance, the water-based markers, in another sketchbook with a more thicker paper, or combine it with colored pencil. But I know that only using the water-based markers for illustrating isn't that for me. I would prefer to use the acrylic markers. But we are almost finished with the sketchbook page. I'm doing the little guinea pigs with the snowdrop, and on the right side it was the sticker for Patreon. But the tiny guinea pig with the snowdrop that I'm finishing right now, you can already get as a sticker from my shop. Maybe you like it. You can check it out also in the description down below. Now to the last illustration, the carnation flower with the tiny, small and very cute fairy guinea pig. Also, I really enjoyed doing this makeover of the sketchbook spread. I also have a few other sketches here in my sketchbook that I don't like anymore, and maybe I'm doing a makeover again, but I also want to finish this sketchbook and I can't spend my time optimizing each sketchbook page. So I don't know if I should do it for some pages so I'm in the end satisfied, or leave it like it is, and then I can look through the sketchbook and reflect and see, okay, next time for my next sketchbook I can retry it again and learn from it. So I don't know, but also it very frustrates me to look through the sketchbook and see some pages that are very ugly, or also contains a lot of notes from my graphic design studio. So maybe I will cover up some pages and draw on top some new illustration and make out of it new YouTube videos, like makeover of my sketchbook page from university, for example, or something like that. It could be very interesting, but I don't know. Maybe you can also let me know how you think about elevating or doing makeover of old sketchbook pages, or covering up some old sketchbook pages and to draw new illustration on top. What is your opinion about it? Should I leave it like it is or create out of it something new? So I think this is all about today's video. I hope you like it, and if this is the case, don't forget to leave a thumb up, to subscribe and push the notification bell. Stay creative, and then I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.